It's time, friends. It's Ventilation Friday with the Queen herself.
And the king of, I don't know what, of all times.
Of all time.
Yeah, I don't like those titles, king and queen. It sounds so, I don't know what.
Start off by what you were saying right before.
Now, which thing? Welcome, everybody. We are very thrilled to be with you on this rainy New York City night. Now, what was I starting with? I talk about so many
About how
things.
good everything was this week.
Oh, I just made a comment that there has been so much progress made in the last week. So many great things happening despite all the horror of it's so disturbing that crash in DC. But I don't think I ever experienced as an adult this much progress in a 2-week period in my entire life out of an administration. Would you agree with that?
For example,
As far as the work I do this week, the Lake and Riley Act, the first piece of legislation signed into executive order.
What is the
Trump.
Lake and Riley Act?
Well, I think we're all familiar by now with 22-year-old nursing student Lake and Riley killed in Georgia by an illegal alien, and many other girls. And remember, we had Jocelyn Nungareed, Rachel Morin, many others. And this piece of legislation will hold those illegals responsible, tried, but they added a piece of, as opposed to, especially in sanctuary cities, they're putting them in the jails and just letting them out to do more crimes, right? I'm trying to break it down very easily and not bore everybody. They did add a piece, which I agree with, we agree with at the Warriors, everyone should agree with, to the Lake and Riley Act that includes, if you attack a police officer, anything to do with law enforcement, it applies to you as well. So, for instance, in New York, we have seen many attacks on police officers. Not so much lately, though, if you've noticed, that we know about. And I don't think they were even booked. They were just let go. So now it's holding responsibility. We are seeing responsibility, accountability, more transparency. So I'm saying for the last 2 weeks, so much is going on. We also saw the introduction from Senator Rick Scott and Ron Johnson, 2 senators, very initial stages. So you're not going to find a lot on it at all yet. Introducing the there will be no human trafficking of migrant children. There's a new act they're drawing up. And there's something that is a seed, but will be announced very shortly, about sex trafficking in the music business specifically. And that is a direct line going to everything going on with Diddy and many others you haven't heard about yet. So there's a lot percolating that I think is very good. And on top of it, we had our Teen Safety Summit that we partner up with the Wonder Girls here in New York, New Jersey. And 300 girls, we were expecting 150, ages 12 to 17. We had 300 show up. And what we do is we bring in, the Warriors brought in our colleagues, our partners at the DEA, Drug Enforcement Administration. Fantastic. And I was so honored that it was the same morning, Tuesday, as those 4 a.m., 5 a.m. raids here in New York with the illegals. And I thought for sure Frank Tarantino, who heads the whole New York division, he'll have to cancel. How is he going to do all of this? Kristi Noem was in town. They're doing all these raids. And you know what? He showed up with his colleague, Sierra, and brought tons of swag for the girls. He kicked off the summit, telling them as a father of 2 daughters how important they are.
And he has appeared on the Lynn's Warriors YouTube channel.
Oh, yes. I have to repost that interview. And I'll speak to him again. But I'm just saying, with all the work going down here in New York City, he appeared. We had Homeland Security there. We had lots of local law enforcement to tell the girls we care about them. Teen safety. Let's talk about, how to protect yourselves. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Did you see their faces? Because,
Yes.
You were with me. They eat it up. We gave them attention and a little pizza. And it doesn't hurt that Goya is a great sponsor
The best.
of the events. And we'll give all the food you want. And it was just, wasn't that a real feel good kind of thing? It just felt so good.
But this is what she does on a regular basis, part of the Warriors, to go there,
Yeah.
boots on the ground, to be a part of this, not to just sit back and pretend, but actually go to Suffern, to...
Yeah, it was held in Suffern, New York, which is, about an hour outside of the city. That's okay.
And absolutely just did so much work, so loved, and so well known in the community. By the way, one a great pizza joint out there in Suffern, if you're out there, called Lavagna.
It was delicious.
May I, before we do this, a small plane crashed near Northeast Philadelphia airport just this evening, days after the horrific midair collision in D.C., claiming the lives of 67 people. The plane in Philly reportedly hit several buildings and cars before going down near the Roosevelt Mall near Cotman Avenue and Roosevelt Boulevard just after 6 p.m. Multiple casualties have been reported. There's video footage. How many of these have you noticed on doorbell and Ring cameras? Isn't that something?
Well, that's the good part of Ring doorbells capturing, because we catch a lot of child predators that way, or we can track a missing child through the rings. That's a very big mall. I've been to that mall when I was younger several times. It's a major mall. It's a major area. This is very disturbing that, well, you know my thoughts on everything.
No. Well, tell them. They don't know your thoughts on it.
Well, because I don't know with algorithms if I can say things. I get a little...
Just, you can.
Okay, I believe that this is my opinion, everybody. I don't have any proof of any of this. I believe we have so much hacking going on, including, I'm still waiting for the drone story. I'm sorry, President Trump and administration. I do not accept the story that was told us. That's me, though.
Hobbyists.
And hobbyists.
And we're
safety
doing
drills
research, but don't worry, it's not an enemy.
If you're doing research, let the public know and just say, don't be in fear. Don't be scared. Talk to your kids. Because I'm always concerned with, what are the kids thinking and the teens. Put it out there so we know what's going on. And we didn't hear any of that. But I believe there's so much hacking. We know a lot of companies. I mean, I hear from people. You hear from people. They just pay off these hackers who hack their systems at banks and healthcare and education systems. And now I think we have aviation, perhaps, or a lot's going on. And I think the introduction of this DeepSeek, this AI from China, we had this going on this week or last week. But what do you think about all that?
Well, one of the things which is very interesting, and this is critical for us to know. First and foremost, let me start off with, we are not privy to individual specific data, reports, findings. We have suspicions, areas that we want to have people review. Regarding the Black Hawk helicopter, recently they were showing very, very proudly how it can become autonomous. It can be controlled. That's number one. Next, we are going to see, and you've seen, how the news changes. Now they're saying it was higher, it was flying higher versus lower. And remember this morning when I was saying, I hope you did, how do we know who this pilot is? People were saying, it's this transgender.
Well, I think somebody started I don't know. Yeah. Did somebody just put that on X and then everybody just, because that reminds me, all of these mainstream news stations, and you know this from the newsrooms, they have all the monitors, okay? One CBS does a story, NBC says go with that story. They don't even do the research or vetting. So where did this come from? Did somebody just say this about this person and then everybody went with it? Maybe.
All of a sudden they went and they said this person. And I remember this morning, and I said, because it was up rather early, and I said, because they showed two pictures. One was a pilot, I think, when there was some type of a Navy hat or something with his family, and then this transgender.
Here, what I would like, though, 67 people we were told died. I think it is their duty to provide a list. They provided all the other names. I find it very suspicious. Again, that's just me. Why we can't know the name. I know in the media it said the family does not want her name made public. Why? Why?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Just keep.
No, I just think this is what happens now. People will just start, their minds are going crazy. They'll make things up. They'll put it out there online. People will run with it, and we will not have the correct answer. Where's Pete Hegseth? Can we have a little, did he make, so it makes you think, and almost rightfully so. There is a little more to this story. We're just not being told. Why can't we know the name? What does this
What
mean?
about they said we do not want a woman's name to be. Well, here we go. Remember this person, this military pilot, this woman here, they showed this, you can't see this fellow, and then this guy, it was I
don't know. Is that AI? Like, I don't know. How do we know those aren't manufactured images?
And it's interesting. They showed a picture of a pilot, one wearing an Army uniform and one wearing a Navy uniform. And all of them were put out. And here we go. This one particular trans pilot said, "It's not me." And what I said this morning was, look at this. Isn't
that the same person?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, listen. And I want you to listen to me because I'm supposed to be Mr. Conspiracy Theorist or whatever. I hate that term. Don't ever rule anything out as a possibility. But a possibility does not mean proof.
Mm-hmm.
A possibility does not mean that let's go there. I was on the Sean Atwood show before, out of the UK. And a woman called up, I'm going to call it, or typed in or whatever. And she said, my brother was in accident investigation, and he says that pilot deliberately crashed the plane. How do you know this? How do we know any of the facts? You said before, we're going to be finding new things. Wait a minute, it wasn't 200 feet, it was 500 feet. And then if I get one more of you wonderful people sending me this dude, this feller who has this YouTube, who tracks it, he's a pilot, and it's like, I know what this is. Here's a 200, 500. That doesn't answer all the questions. Do you think we're ever going to get to the answer of everything? At the bottom of everything?
About this?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Never.
Whatever they tell us will be the eventual official story.
Do you think Pete
Hegseth
is going to tell us everything, even though if it hurts morale, hurts the Pentagon? Do you think he's really going to do anything to say everything? No, he can't.
No, because he can't. He can't. But in the meantime,
what else?
What a tragedy.
I know.
Just so many
How about
kids.
that Ainsley?
I mean, I saw it in real time because I admit, getting up at 4 a.m., I many times in the background will put on Fox. Most of the time with no sound. And then if I see a guest,
probably better, yeah.
Well, because I'm working, and if I see a guest come on, like a Tom Homan, or then I'll want to listen to it. But they repeat at 4 a.m. They got the 5, they got the gut feel, whatever they have. They got Laura Ingraham. I happened to. This was Fox and Friends, the actual show. And I turned up the sound because it was about the crash. That's what I did. And I'm working, and I heard what she said, and I looked up.
What did she say?
To see the guest. Look, we still have. I think we still have bodies in the water. I don't think they retrieved. I can't even say that. It's horrible for all the family members.
At the time she said it.
At the time she said it.
Does everybody know what she said? Just so we don't have to repeat this.
I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit. They had a pilot on, right?
Navy SEAL.
I'm sorry, a Navy SEAL. You're right, a Navy SEAL. And all of a sudden she's pressing him, and I'll clean it up a little bit. Like, what were they going through in their last moments? What were they praying, or and I'm thinking, wow, this was yesterday. This was all fresh and new. And the look on his face, and I think he said, "Oh gosh," or "Oh jolly." He said something like that. What is she doing? Even if she had some 12-year-old producer type copy person write the script, which she does, obviously she doesn't read through her notes beforehand. You would catch yourself saying those kind of things, or did she just throw it in there?
Yes.
Why would you say this when children are in the water or anybody and keep pressing about. It disgusts me.
She's a jadrul.
It disgusts me. It's beyond that. Pressing this guest about their last moments and their 8 seconds and their horrible.
One time years ago, I don't know if I told you this, but one time there was a story in Florida, but they always talked about it. It was a local news station. And there was a woman who was doing the evening news, kind of a local, small market. And the story was there was a school bus that was stuck on a train track, and trying to start the bus, and it was stuck or crap, whatever it was. And the train was coming in on it. So the moments of horror as these kids are looking at, and they're trying to start the school bus. Anyway, splat. Okay. The woman came back after this report. People were horrified. The woman, the anchor, said, well, better luck next time. She wasn't thinking. She was worried about this, and then this weather guy's next, and this guy's talking in her ear, and she just said she wasn't thinking. Okay. The next scene out of commercial was a guy standing there with a headset on. He was like the floor director. He's doing the show.
I would like to interrupt you.
Yes.
With this update from the scene from somebody. This is horrifying.
Emergency personnel in Philadelphia are responding to Roosevelt Mall for a mass casualty incident. A plane crashed into the mall. A portion of the mall has collapsed. Numerous people are trapped. Firefighters have declared a mass casualty incident. Houses in the area are on fire. Wires are down. Update: portion of the mall is on fire. Houses are on update: scanners are all over the place. People possibly trapped in homes. Wires down. Plane. It is a
horrible.
very, very, very significant, horrible. I can't show you the photos, but
it looks like this looks like a bomb hit this area.
By the way, special thanks to Sue. Hang on a minute. Where's our Sue? There she is. Sue says there was another plane crash into a mall in Philly just now. Yep. That's what we are talking about, Sue. Thank you.
Oh my.
It's horrible.
Look at this.
And it looks.
A small plane could cause this kind of.
See, there you go.
Sorry, I'm
There
looking
you
at
go.
something from the scene that was sent to me, and this doesn't look like a small
Nope.
plane is causing. If this picture is real,
Mhm.
and it's coming from a very reliable source, this is not a small plane.
Well,
Part of
I can't believe
part of the mall
that
collapsed, and this massive fire.
that plane with that small amount of gas, a little tank of a plane
Oh,
would cause, unless it ignited something, causing this particular.
this is horrible.
Lori Cook says, we got a bug going around, fever, cough, pain. All righty. We got a bug, fever, cough, and pain with a heart. Well, I hope
Lori,
you feel
feel better, Lori. There is actually a lot of sickness going around, so everybody should feel better, stay healthy.
A friend of mine,
stay safe.
a friend of mine who is a physician, used to work in kind of, he hangs around kind of like city walk-in clinics. He says, there is always something going around. At any given time, there are things going around. Every year at February, Christmas time, I get my annual 2-day flu thing. Remember this? We both got it this time. Remember this?
Yeah, but I'm like a 1-dayer.
Yeah, but this one,
and I will it away, and then you're like a 2-dayer, and then you get rid of it. I'm a 1-dayer.
it just goes away. It just goes away. In any event,
I just don't know.
Isn't it wonderful, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't it wonderful how we as citizens are our news sources? We, in the old days, when we were kids, would have never known about this. We would have had to have been listening to the radio, maybe, and at home you wouldn't have done this. There was nothing on TV. Nobody broke in. Do you know that when Walter Cronkite broke in for the Kennedy assassination, this was just unheard of. They didn't know what to do. He's breaking in,
Yeah.
and now we live with such immediacy.
Well, it's become we're becoming habituated.
Yes.
It's becoming normalized.
Now, let me do this. What I do is I go to X, and I go to the latest. I go to news. X to me is the best. The best. Now, isn't this something? Do you not think it odd that right with all that is going on, in D.C., we get this. Okay, Philly.
But can you imagine the horror? You're at the mall. Partial mall collapse. That is a very huge mall. And also parking lot,
Now,
houses on top
of
it.
Look at this. This is, I just take the phone, breaking update, 12 minutes. The plane crash appears to be a Learjet 55 air ambulance from Mexico. This is according to Nick Sortor. It seems to have crashed shortly after takeoff from Philly's Executive Airport. No word on what caused it. So it's a jet versus a small plane.
Well, it was first reported small plane by the New Jersey well-vetted source. So I don't know what's.
And we have, look at this. Look at this picture from a ring. A person's, look at the.
Does that not look like?
I know you can't see this, but the explosion of this. This, I think the jet makes more sense. Again, breaking news. Again, more pictures. It's just incredible. The amount of information. Look at this picture.
I don't want to look.
I know you
can't
pray
for these people, and this is horrible. Innocent people being no.
Kelly McKinnon, by the way, says, "Thank you for all you do, Lionel and Mrs. L." Kelly, you are such a doll.
Thank you very much. I'm just so upset between DC and between this now breaking. I'm going to say it again, everybody. Our kids are seeing all this. You know, it's when we were kids, we were somewhat shielded, right?
Yep.
From things. And I also think when we were kids, I don't know if this is true or not, but it was in my household. You know, my parents were careful not to discuss every single thing in front of us, whether that's good or bad. No, it was good in our case. I had great parents. You did too. So we were somewhat shielded, right? Definitely didn't have the internet. But now the kids, can you imagine being a 12-year-old and seeing this and just crashing into the mall? Maybe you live in that area. You go to that mall, the fear. All of this adds to, you know, the youth mental health crisis and everything going on.
Yep.
People have to talk to their kids. I know it's hard to do. And especially it's hard to say you're safe at home, you're safe with us, when these are people just going to a mall, minding their own business. It's a very tough thing today.
Can you tell us the story without mentioning the name? By the way, is a she, right? Tell us a story without mentioning the name, of course, of a friend of yours who said that she, I'm posting a brand new copy of my Sean Atwood interview. You knew a woman or know a woman who is involved in various entertainment and artistic ventures, and she has friends of hers who came to her and said something to the effect of, "Listen, don't tell anybody, but we voted for Trump." Tell us about that.
Well, that's kind of the story there.
Okay. Oh, sorry about that.
She was telling me that she has many different friends, well established in business, this woman, and she was shocked over the last few years, such a division, okay, that you could never really bring up a fact, you know, about Trump or Republicans or the good work, because as I always say to everybody, I will talk about a Democrat and the good work if it warrants that. I will talk about a Republican. The work we do, the human rights abuses, the kids, is supposed to be a bipartisan. And a lot of the legislation we have is indeed bipartisan. So she was telling me she gave up trying to, and she's non-confrontational at all, you know, maybe over dinner when she's out with a group, point out the facts over. So she shut her mouth. Then she said, fast forward to the election. And she said, many of these people came to her separately and said, you know, we don't want anybody to know, but we want you to know, because she's always been a staunch supporter, of Trump. And it's really about, sure, we don't like everything maybe he has done in his lifetime. It doesn't matter. What is good for America? And she was telling me how one after the other would come to her, telling her, don't, you know, we went in and voted for him. And we know that because we know what the election, I'm sure that happened all over the United States. Now, what I'd like to see, frankly, I really do want to see the Amish acknowledged. I'm waiting for that.
Scott Pressler?
Well, no, Scott Pressler is now working diligently in New Jersey to flip that. Bill Spadea just stepped aside from his radio show. The 101.
Whoa, good.
Well, he's running for governor.
Good.
So he's
Vote New Jersey, Bill Spadea.
Yeah, he's all in, and that's who people should look into and vote for if you're in New Jersey. So Scott Pressler is there. I think he's going to make a tremendous, tremendous difference. I want to see him being given a little more support. He's being acknowledged and all that, but he's really about the work. So he's there, and he did it in Pennsylvania. I think he can really do it in New Jersey. He's the guy.
Our good friend, hang on one second. Lori Cook says we got a bug around here. Oh, Kelly.
Well, I don't know. They announced you can't eat Lay's potato chips. A high level of something going on. I got something else yesterday about some sort of chocolate out of a farm in California. Do not eat anymore. There seems like there's a lot of nerve-wracking things happening around us.
A good friend, Cut Up Chatter, says stay busy doing helpful things to beat despondency. Small creative tasks for gifting can lift your spirit. Don't become depressed. Thank you. Lori Cook says Andy No says there's a group of radical cereal at work. Cereal, like Post Toasties or Life cereal. Andy knows very, very good. Very, very excellent good. There is, by the way, may I give you a wonderful, I know this is terrible. I found one of the best. There is a woman, you will love her to death. Her name is, hang on a minute. Okay. That's not there.
That doesn't look like her.
That's not it. That's not. That's not.
Really doesn't look like her.
No. This is a woman. A Amish cooking. Have you seen her? Here she is. Look at this. It's called literally. It's called Lovina Hirschberger at literally just a girl. And she does all these things. She makes Sunday lunch, pretzel snacks. She's Amish.
Where does Lovina, what does it say there? Where does she live?
It says here, I grew up Amish and I'm the second oldest in the family with 13 kids. If you want to learn more about the Amish, I would love you to subscribe to my channel. It's called Lovina. Okay,
not for nothing. I'm just going to say Hirschberger.
Lovina Hirschberger. But look at this. She wears the same clothes, good green thing, but she never looks down. Whenever she cooks, she looks right at the camera. She says, pour this in, chop. She looks right at the camera the whole time. Anyway, she does one of these she makes bread. She never looks down. She's chopping. She's baking. She looks right at the camera.
She doesn't look at what she's chopping.
Yes.
That is very strange.
You know what? She is fantastic. I'm going to give you her name.
Yeah, and I'm going to add her with her not looking down.
Have you ever seen like old women, these Italian women who cook the nonnas? Let me put this up here for you. These Italian women, it breaks my heart when I see that, but they show you how to make, tagliatelle or... There we go. Here we go. This is her. Please follow her. She's wonderful. Meatloaf. And imagine one of 13 kids. I think she's fantastic.
Can you imagine all the food you have to make?
She's missing 3 fingers. I think.
No, how do you chop though?
You've got to see this.
No, then she edits. I'm going to be reviewing this because she has to. Then she edits the videos because when you're chopping things up, you have to look down at the onion. I'm going to watch, but I'm not trusting that.
Cut Up says Amish came out to say, hint, hint, President Trump, build barns and are ready. They are I am dying to
They know how to build those little houses. They have to be brought in. I'm reading up on, I just got something about Gavin Newsom.
Read it.
Gavin Newsom being served with Governor of California, for now everybody, being served with recall petition calling for his removal following LA fires catastrophe. And if you don't mind my plugging myself,
Please.
Please follow Lynn's Warriors on YouTube, because my friend and colleague, I will call her CC Woods, we did a great, I don't like the word interview, but I guess I have to use it for shorthand. We had a great chat together. CC's an investigative reporter out in California, really doing great work. And she really filled me in, thus us, on the government there and what's going on behind the scenes and the corruption and the this and the that. So please watch that and share that if you are so inclined. But, my big question to CC was, will this stick? Because people forget so quickly about things. And she said, this will indeed stick, meaning getting rid of a lot of the Gavin Newsom, the Karen Bass, all of these people. And I travel a lot. I meet a lot of conservative and Republican people when I'm in California. I think it's time, everybody. I think things are changing.
Your FBI agent friend who's terrific.
Oh, Jen Coffindaffer? I just put
Is that a great name, Coffindaffer?
Coffindaffer, like coffin and then Daffer, Coffindaffer. Jen served about 30 years in the FBI with counterterrorism, and she took down these gangs and cartels and weapons. And to look at her, you think that's a nice mom, because she is a mom of 3 kids and very proud of it. She's now retired, but she continues her good work. She has a wonderful podcast. I talked to her yesterday, so please look at that on Lynn's Warriors YouTube. About the podcast is called Break the Case. And why I love Jen Coffindaffer, although she calls herself retired, she's really not. She's doing so many crime alerts, crime updates, expert witnesses, psychologists, psychiatrists, because Jen follows up, as opposed to, where is this missing child, Sebastian Rogers, which happened over a year ago. She keeps at it with the follow-up. And we always say, like, where's the follow-up, right? Who's keeping at it? And Jen does this because her ultimate goal is showcasing missing children, supporting, of course, all the work we do here at the Warriors, and also seeking justice. And she was telling me, because I asked her, how do you feel about all the people on the internet with their opinions and this and that? She has a huge following. She said, no, actually, it's very good, these internet sleuths. They really dig in and find things. And so she likes it. She likes people weighing in and digging around.
And you should see, you wouldn't believe the work she's doing with Nancy Grace. Unbelievable. Nancy Grace is so huge.
She is huge. She is so huge. And I refuse to talk about baby oil with her, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. And Dirty Diddy, as I like to call him. I don't want to talk about baby oil. Nancy wants to do shows over and over again about Diddy and his baby oil, and I always say,
that may, to each his own.
It is interesting, but we'll leave that for another program, because this is a family show here. But I'll always say, well, I want to talk about those victims, alleged victims, and survivors of all of this exploitation, even if it's not anything to do with Diddy, because people are hanging, they're contacting me, victims, survivors we work with. They want this case to stick in some way, shape, form, and start holding people accountable. And that story is another story we will never get to the bottom of.
Lori says, have 2 J6ers been, and then she refers to dispatched. We will see about that one. That's very interesting. Nelson A says, me, Mrs. and Mr. L, so glad you're both back. Love Ventilation Friday. Thank you, Nelson A. You're a good man.
I did hear something about the J6ers. That this, what's his name? J.D. Pritzker, this Pritzker.
From Illinois?
The governor. He put something out. He said they can't be hired at all for jobs or something like that. Anybody with that. So that's another one.
In Illinois.
In Illinois.
Wow.
I just had a thought. It might sound kind of not my usual nice way. That's a guy, when I see him, I want to stick a pin in him and let him pop. Does that make sense? Who in their right mind is defending these illegals perpetrating these crimes against Americans? I don't understand anybody doing that. And when I bring this up to people that are doing that, they have no answers for me.
By the way, the latest, our friend Laura Loomer, who was just, you know what? She's wild. And I like wild. Laura Loomer says another plane just crashed in Philadelphia. Steve Keeley, by the way, Steve Keeley is from Fox 29 News in Philly.
That's Philly.
Steve Keeley says 6 just killed on the airplane that just took off from Northeast Philadelphia. Philly police sources tell me here on the scene, 2 doctors, 2 pilots, 1 patient, and 1 family member. Apparently, this is some type of a medical. Look at the.
We don't know though. Going to Mexico, coming from Mexico.
We don't know. Well, I think they were going to maybe some type of air. They said it was like a medical plane or something along those.
Wouldn't Mexicans come here for medical treatment as opposed to?
You don't have to raise your voice.
I forgot. I thought I was an Nancy Grace for a minute because I'm always yelling on the show.
Oh, I know. I hear you yelling.
I can't. I try because I'm on a panel always, and the other guests are always very sedate. Very sedate. And when it comes to me, I can't look at that because that looks like a
These ring phones. Look at this ring. Look at this. Watch this. Right behind it. Look at this. See how things is going down right now? This is unbelievable.
This is sad.
Now look at Laura Loomer, how good she is. She says, I have obtained the registration number of the plane that just crashed.
Well, how'd she get that fast?
From a screenshot of the engine, whatever, in the, it says it's a medical air ambulance, and it's owned and operated by Jet Rescue Air Ambulance. It's a Learjet 55. She's got the registration number. It's incredible how they... I just find these great.
She's like an internet sleuth. She provides, and others, we've got others that do that as well. They get this video, which must be sent to them immediately with their sources.
She got it from do you ever hear this word, a nacelle? Nacelle. This is a streamlined housing or tank for something on the outside of an aircraft. An nacelle. I never heard of that word.
Well, she's not there.
Nacelle.
So
no.
Somebody sent it to her.
Yeah, but still, this is the best.
Right. And then
this is the best news. This is journalism.
Yeah.
This is better than anything.
And that's what everybody should be, leveraging the internet for good, because you'll wake up tomorrow and you'll have like OAN or Fox or CNN with the video. We already know about it.
Carolina says Loomer's throwing around the F-bombs. Yeah, I know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like that. There's no need for that.
I also want to say something to Candace Owens. Would you get this Brigitte Macron? Does anybody really care about this? Oh, it's interesting. But let me explain something.
I don't think it's so interesting. We have all these other things going on. I feel like let that go. Why keep talking about it? We have to talk about the kids. Does anybody even know that this is in America School Choice Week?
No.
And it's Friday.
No.
There was no promotion about it. There's no talk about it. Today in the White House, Sarah Huckabee, I like her very much.
Oh, she's
I think
great.
she has a great future. I could see her being president one day. I kid you not. And very good presence, very stable, very smart. Was heading up a round table at the White House all about school choice. We pay taxes. We should be able to pick the schools we want, whether charter, private, public, homeschooling. Those dollars go the way we want. And you know what? I believe President Trump will enact that so that there will be school choice.
People thought I was serious when I said you were yelling. They thought it was so. They're serious, and they're saying things like, "Yeah, but you do all the yelling." I say, "They don't. They don't know jokes. They have no sense of humor."
People don't have. No, listen. I don't know. I am a loud talker.
No, but I love that.
I do yell a lot when I'm on a microphone. I admit.
But it's an old joke. Sometimes
people don't take things literally. They don't understand nuance, sarcasm.
One of the funniest jokes is when you're at a store or something. Somebody's talking to you. Tell them, you don't have to yell, and they're saying, "I'm not yelling." It's an old joke.
People don't get it, but I
it.
think maybe you scare people.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you're intense. You could scare people because I think you scare people.
Lori Cook, by the way, says Mrs. L. Macron has to do with kids. Victims become predators.
We don't have proof on that. We can talk about that until the sun comes up.
Let me explain something.
I won't go. See, everybody should understand. I'm cutting you off right now for a minute because it's Ventilation Friday. You should know something about me at the Warriors. We will talk. I will always say something is my opinion. I don't have proof, okay? And I don't even say that often. I stick to facts, reality, truths, sources that give me the information, whether it's law enforcement, government, that I know are true. I'm not going to talk about her. I don't know if any of that's true. Do you know if that's true? And I'm not going to waste our time. We're just talking about the DC crash, this horrible thing that happened outside of Philadelphia. I don't want to talk about that.
But it's
I'm bored.
also, she's mean, it's snide, it's
No,
irrelevant.
but what does it have to do?
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Well, should I answer that?
No. Well,
Well, let me go in the other room. No, let me not. We're doing a ventilation Friday. Let's just let it go.
Go ahead, keep talking. Let me just text something. Go ahead. Keep talking.
No, but I'm just saying, I wish everybody would, obviously everybody's entitled to say what they want, do what they want, as long as you don't harm children and animals. But I'm over that. I mean, we are fighting for our America. We are fighting. Everybody thinks, excuse me, everything, and it is indeed 2 weeks President Trump's been in office. So much has happened, as we started Ventilation Friday with. I've never been involved in so much, at least for the work I do, in the right direction of helping children, helping families, things you don't even know about yet that will be unleashed. But that being said, we have to remain vigilant the next 4 years, all of us, just in our home, in our communities. We have to think about 4 years from now also, when President Trump, I know it seems a far away, to continue on this path. We cannot allow. And can you imagine what we'll be talking about in 4 years?
2 things. Nelson says, this Philly crash looks like a missile. Why is all this happening under Trump? Strange indeed. It's not first of all, it looks like a missile. Why would it look like a missile? Well, maybe
Nelson thinks that's what Nelson looked at pictures and that looks like the response of a missile. It does indeed look like a bomb to me, but I don't know.
It looks, I don't, who's a plane?
Well, I hope they tell us maybe who was on the plane.
Next thing. I want you to look very carefully at who are the people that President Trump does not have anymore in his circle. Okay, when he was running, but not now, because they're too extreme and too out there. We're not going to mention any names, but we know. Let me just say this. It's great to be fiery and combative and all that. But I think Stiles and others are telling him right away, you are not going to be associated with people
Susie Wiles.
Wiles. I call her Stiles. Because she's stylish. She has a style.
You know what I like about Susie Wiles? Like, she's not a camera hogger. She wants to be behind the scenes. She at the convention with his nomination. No, it was that night, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't want to when he called her out, and that's what we need. People like that want to be behind the scenes and don't want to be a celebrity or star. She's tough as nails, that one. Tough.
Now, but just remember, watch the people who are not going to be anywhere near this because they are considered, well, that's all I'm saying. It's kind of fun, that kind of stuff.
We don't have time for that. No. After what we just went through, no, we don't have time. And what we went through before that, so we've had like 8 years, right, of a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And then we had Obama. I don't think most Americans were awake then, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't even know what was going on then leading up to all this. So we have to remain vigilant now, educated, and on point, on mark.
Right. Okay? What else were you going to say? You were saying something else. February 22nd, meet Mrs. L at the cutting room.
Meet you.
Well,
we are going to have a celebration, but what I really want you to do is, it goes so fast when we're there, right?
God.
It feels like you start and it's over. I really would like, Q&A.
That's a whole show.
I want people to ask their questions. I think there's a lot that's going to happen in the next 3 weeks.
It's like
by the time of the show.
Much. You don't want.
I don't even call it a show. It's kind of like a tutorial.
It's weird.
And it's kind of
imagine Ted Talks.
There's no name for
meets, I don't know what the hell you want to call it. I can't stand plain old comedian.
Okay, but I ran into somebody yesterday on the street.
Mhm.
Street.
Right.
And she said, a friend of ours, and a fan of yours.
Oh,
also.
yes.
And
Yes.
she's like, I can't wait to come to Lionel's comedy show.
Yeah.
And I guess because the news itself is comedy.
Yeah.
That's how she perceives it. Whatever. Call it what you want. Just be
Right.
there if possible. Or support. Maybe you're not in the area. You don't mind my saying that.
No.
Because
sorry.
we give tickets to, college kids or people who can't really afford it type of thing.
First responders.
First
cops,
responders.
fire.
Cops. Yes. We're very much vets. We do a lot of things like that. So whatever you can do to support, I'm not shy about saying that.
Go ahead. I'm
I know you're looking at messages coming in and things on my phone. I don't, it's very curious. It's very curious. But let's ask everybody else. I'll put my specs on for this one so I can look at comments while you do that. I'm curious. I'm going to change up the whole subject now, even though we're talking about all this horror. What is everybody doing this weekend? I'd like to hear some suggestions of what everybody is doing. So I'll wait because there's a little bit of a lag with the chat. Let's see what everybody's saying.
Did you know that Ringo Starr was on Jimmy Kimmel? And he asked Starr to clean up.
Wait a minute. Mrs. L, keeping Lionel in check.
Oh.
Well,
this is
thank
Gretzky.
you so much.
Thank you so much for that.
You know what? We keep each other in check.
Oh, Lori Cook will be 51 at midnight.
It's going to be your birthday tomorrow, February 1? No, at midnight.
It's her birthday. Well, February 1.
Woo! Everybody weigh in for Lori and please wish her a happy birthday. Let's go, everybody. Happy birthday, Lori. Let's go.
Send your love. Pizza.
Can you move that so I can see comments?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Kay says you are a comedian because she laughed so hard.
By the by, Ringo
Put
Starr.
this down. Let's
Ringo
focus on
Starr
the
never
chat.
had pizza. I'm just saying.
I don't believe that.
Nah, that's great.
No, he's looking for clicks and likes.
Carla, our dear friend Carla, the cooking
Carla's
CEO.
so supportive of
Hang on, Carla.
looking at my YouTubes, my Twitter, putting comments, and that's what we need, everybody.
Look at this. We simulcast on YouTube, on the telly, and X on the phone. The best of both worlds. We will be swimming. Oh, absolutely. We were talking about.
Carla's coming to the show.
Absolutely. Look at this. Nelson A., ladies and gentlemen, Nelson says, buy a ticket on my behalf to vet, etc. Thank you.
Nelson, thank you very much. You got it, because our vets, I don't have to go into it. Everybody knows the story. We have a lot of them. And you know what? I noticed with your shows, for lack of a better word, they will come alone, a lot of them, because I greet everybody at the door and I see people and I mingle and I talk to people. And, I'll pair them up because, at clubs, it could be a table of two, right? A small table. And if a single person comes in and I'll sit them with somebody else, and when I talk to them a little bit, and then they'll tell me, and we usually say anybody who's a vet stand up at the end to thank them for their service. So you have a big following there. So thank you, Nelson. That means the world to us and to them. So thank you very much.
And Lori Cook's going to be 51. Bless her
midnight.
heart.
Is everybody
51.
saying here? Everybody's saying happy birthday. Look at all these happy birthdays.
Just a child, a mere child at 51.
And I can't read from here, even with my glasses. Tipping the cows after midnight.
You get tip the cows?
There we go. Now, Cut Up Chatter. That's very interesting. Just that name, Cut Up Chatter, isn't it?
Did you ever see my first comment?
Probably.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah. You know what, Cobb? We appreciate that. Send out our emails so that we can focus on this. We appreciate so much of what you're doing. But for personal things, kind of send emails so we can talk about different things so that people don't say, what?
Because of the lag in the chat sometimes.
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
time we see the comment, we're on
Right.
to something else. Because I noticed when I do
Right.
my YouTube, sometimes I have to stop the response. I don't know for a second
right,
what it's.
right, exactly.
And I know I talk fast when I do my YouTube, and I'm going a mile a minute. I can't keep
No.
up, but that's me.
And
That's
also,
me doing
sometimes
that.
somebody will say, did you get the book? Did you get the book? And some people are saying, what book? So we appreciate that.
No, that's okay.
But
We're
you've got
gonna
our
figure it out.
emails, and we will
Well,
take care
Laura
of that.
loves us, and that's enough for me. Thank you, Laura, because
Absolutely.
we love you. We love everybody. We really do. And I want. It's going to sound really phony. People need to love each other. Respect each other, and listen to each other, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Oh, you know what?
What?
It kind of slightly bothered me, and I don't really know why, about Marianne Faithfull.
Yeah.
Maybe because she was part of my like youth kind of thing. And it's
Mhm.
just like another person gone. And then somebody else turned 95, I think, today. Was it Gene Hackman?
Gene Hackman.
Was that today or
I think
yesterday?
today or yesterday.
I don't know. He's 95, and
Uh,
she had a what a life, huh?
oh my
That we
God.
know about. I mean, she left her children and went and lived on the streets and was a heroin addict, and just sad, horrible. So, but I felt bad about it, right? I
There's
just
some people, look at this, still can't get your newsletter. Don't understand it. Get thousands of people who do. I don't know what to tell you. Also, make sure you put in your
correct email.
well, also in your address book, put in Lionel@lionelmedia.com. Lionel@lionelmedia.com, so it recognizes it, because remember, we have that quarantine list every single day. It's not the junk folder. It's the quarantine. It's email parameters or junk parameters. And we get, so anyway, don't know what to tell you.
I like
Oh, hang on. Matless X says, did Biden pardon Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken? You know, I don't know why he would, because that would not be a federal case.
Wouldn't we have heard about that by now? Are there? Here's what I
There
want to
is
ask you
no,
again.
that would be a California case. That would be state. And that case doesn't make any sense. I've always thought it's a little fishy. The whole Natalie.
No pun
Wood,
intended.
yeah, Natalie Wood thing. No, I don't get that. She was deathly afraid of swimming. And at night, she would have dove off of this boat into the dark
Or fallen
water.
in drunk.
No, but she claims, they say, oh no, she dove in. And they said, no,
Well, there's
she
that
was-
captain, remember? He came forward with saying things years later.
Yeah.
Her sister always maintained a lot of stories.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
But
And
you know what? It's funny because, well, I won't say
yeah,
it. But I'll just
well,
I'll leave it at that.
we have these, there's these theories. There's always something to be said for that.
Well, where there's smoke, there's fire.
And
There's always that kind of
Walken
thing.
never,
Walken.
well, one day we'll tell you that, well, we can't. But the stuff,
This
well,
is
we
what-
can't.
We're not ventilating very well right now. Let's go on to another
Well,
story. Let's go
The
on to another
stuff that
story.
we hear, the rumors are great. But I don't think that's not my idea of a good time to say, well, I'm hearing rumors. We always hear rumors.
I also want to point out, you know who's doing some terrific tweets? Justine Bateman. Have you looked at her stuff? She's like very down to earth. She's pointing out all of these things happening in California and what the people need. Seriously, I'm very proud of her. And she's just doing her thing. And I love that. And I really think that's what we need more of. She's putting out facts like that.
And she looks like a regular person.
Well, let's not talk about looks, okay?
What I'm saying is,
How about somebody wrote to me the other day?
It is. Go ahead.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
But you know me, I'm tough. Like I don't care. Bring it on. Okay. You won't get a rise out of me. You won't get a response out of me. You'll get nothing. Okay. Which drives people more nuts. It wrote to me. It's not a joke, even though I'm starting to smile, and told me I'm going to clean it up because there were little words I don't want to say because I'm a lady about my fat cankles.
Now, you do not
No,
have them,
when-
but how would you
now, when-
know?
Now you would think maybe somebody's trying to make a joke, but there's nothing funny about that. And what has anybody ever seen?
That's what I'm saying. We
with the
don't,
exception of you,
right? But I'm saying
like,
we don't get. But
really, maybe they misdirected that. That was supposed to go to like Hillary Clinton. Remember that whole fiasco where she never wore a dress again after that comment? You don't see any parts of my body.
maybe that happened with with Kamala, who always wore the pantsuit. By the way, rumor has it he's here. He's going to be at a New York law firm. Is that it or something?
It is a New York, LA law firm. He's splitting his time between New York and LA. You know,
He's splitting his time, all right.
That old story. actually kind of in our neighborhood, not far away. So we'll I don't care about him. I don't even want to talk about them.
Doesn't that seem?
They make me sick.
Doesn't that seem like a decade ago?
It seems like I said to somebody yesterday, it never was,
Yeah.
even though all that horror happened. It seems to me like Trump's just kind of been there the whole time. Like it's just all erased.
By the way, I don't want to bring this up. Mrs. L was very upset tonight, and I could hear her weeping softly. Chuck Todd's leaving, honey. I know you were. You took that to heart. Chuck Todd,
Listen,
is going.
And the other one left and said he had an exciting announcement the other day. He's starting a sub.
Jim Acosta.
Jim Acosta said I actually got an exciting announcement. It wasn't a joke or anything. Exciting announcement, everybody. I'm starting a Substack. Good for you, JC.
You and everybody else.
No, Jim. Oh, J.A.
Yeah, J.A.
I don't even know their names anymore.
Nora O'Donnell left too, and her numbers went up like 20%.
So they told us. I don't know. But you know what? They're just not, forget the people. They're not paying those huge salaries that were paid out beginning in the late 80s, 90s, all the way up. They're just not doing it, these failing media companies.
And it's also over because we don't need this anymore. We just don't.
And they never got on board, which was a good, I'm going to say, you were one of the original podcasters.
It's true.
And you were given an award as being.
Talking Magazine.
You don't really talk about yourself that much.
Podcast.
My husband, he's very humble and shy about himself, but he was an original podcaster. And I remember, what was that, like 15 years ago?
I got to check. I
think it was. And people would constantly say, because we're great believers in you create your own product. You be at the forefront. You be your own boss, right? Like podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
You started this, and people would constantly say to you, in the media business, I don't know what that is. What explain that? You mean it's not a radio station, it's not a TV station. They never understood.
This was at a talkers convention, and the guy then I was with, Tom Likas, I don't even remember him. He was doing this but it was so evident this was just going.
Well, that part of my story is about the mainstream media is that's when they should have jumped on. They're trying to catch up and catch up and hang on, right? Even over the last 5 years. And what has happened? Failing. This is the place to be. This is the media. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Lori Cuck says Victor Hansen told a story about the Fang Fang coming to see him with low-cut shirt on. The Fang Fang.
Remember Fang Fang?
Well, the Fang Fang was.
Isn't it that woman?
Swalwell's the Chinese. That one.
She went to him with a low-cut shirt. He always says a lot of words wrong.
Oh, God, he's the worst.
And I was actually in a meeting the other day.
God.
It was actually a Zoom meeting. And the whole time, the woman leading the meeting kept mispronouncing someone's last name, in the government.
Oh.
So I thought since the meeting, she should. And I wanted to jump out of the seat, but I was not leading the meeting. It bothered me. She said it 50 times over and over. This is a person in the government. You should really know their name.
Right.
But it's so disrespectful when you keep saying it the wrong way.
Max,
how many times do I ask you how to pronounce this, or I look it up, or I see somebody's on video, how they pronounce their own name? I always want to make sure I have the name right.
Max Blumenthal referred to Pam Bondi as Pam Bondi.
No, he didn't. But why would he say that?
I don't know. But I liked it.
Bondi.
Victor Davis Hanson is good, but he bores me.
But he says so many things. He pronounces them wrong. Why he's obviously smart.
And he also
says some good things. Why is he talking like that?
He also says that Trump has a Queen's accent. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't have a Queen's accent.
No, not at all. We know other people who do, but but you know what? At least it's a different perspective. Why do people hate the New York Post, National Review? They hate Bobby Kennedy Jr. I loved him. 3 people this week I loved. Bobby Kennedy, Kash Patel. Kash Patel's kind of got the little bit of strabismus. He's got that one eye that.
Who does? I was reading.
Kash Patel. He's got that
don't do that.
No, he's got that one eye that goes like that.
So,
and that's why. Well, that's like Mr. Patel over here. Anyway, Kash Patel Tulsi Gabbard was fantastic. They were asking the question, you heard it. Is Edward Snowden a traitor? The answer is no, he's not a traitor. But somehow if she'd have said, thank you, Teresa. Somehow if they'd have said,
Thank you, Teresa.
Somehow if they'd have
Teresa's
said,
good.
Edward Snowden is not a traitor.
What if they sat there? No, they couldn't do that, I guess. But I did say to you, I understand questioning, trying to go deep, really, for these important positions. They're so confrontational, though, the way their attitude. I'm sorry. They're just looking
And
to get on
also-
television with their clicks and likes.
That bullshit artist, pardon my French, Cory Booker, where's he been? How about Bob Menendez?
Well, Cory Booker better go back to Newark and help his people. I could
Yeah.
never understand Newark, New Jersey, my entire life, because I grew up in New Jersey, was always falling apart. There were
Mhm.
always problems. That is actually beautiful
Remember
property.
Jim Sharp? No, Sharp, what was his name? Sharp James. Sharp James.
No, but that is beautiful property right on the other side, basically of the Hudson.
Mhm.
Why that could never be developed, I know they tried
And
over the
Camden
years.
is beautiful.
Well, Camden, they did a lot of, I believe,
Was it the Campbell Soup or something? Or
well, was, but
Rutgers?
they put in there, I think it's the Rutgers Law School
Law
years
School.
ago, and that was kind of the anchor, putting in then townhouses, rebuilding, getting back to that. In the day, Camden had beautiful old
Mhm.
homes and architecture, but I'm saying I can never understand the Newark. I can only imagine they want to leave it like that, downtrodden, beat up, broken up. I can never understand it. It's so
Cory
close to New
Booker
York.
is such a phony.
He is.
And he's, you know what he is? He's got to be honest. I'll just leave it at that.
Remember he had a boo?
Yeah. Oh,
Remember he had-
who was it? Veronica.
No, it was. Oh gosh, I can see her face. The actress Rosario
I,
Dawson.
I knew it was something. Yeah, yeah, that was
And
his
he was
boo.
like, "My boo."
Stop it.
My boo
Does
is
Lindsay-
here.
does
Yeah,
Lindsay-
my boo.
Does Lindsey Graham have a boo? No.
A boo.
Come on. They think
We're in 2000. But it's not that we're in 2025. Nobody cares. They work for us. So let's just get the jobs done. We don't care about the booze. We don't care about the this, the
But he
that,
thinks he's fooling
or the
us.
booze. There's two different
Corey,
boos.
Corey, we know.
But here's
we
the
know.
But you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate
Okay.
because
Okay.
please don't do that. It's a serious program. It's
Mhm.
Ventilation Friday. It is somewhat shocking to me all the time when I go out and talk about, I'll just use an example, child trafficking at our open borders. And some people, more people are awake and aware and know, because it's been more in the news lately, certainly with the Trump administration, more talk about it. People will say to me, I don't know about that. I didn't hear about that. Different issues I talk about. They'll say, trafficking happens in New York? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Lee Zeldin.
Okay, well, you said it, not me.
It's Lee Zeldin.
Well,
By the way,
he got voted in, or whatever you
How
call
about
it,
this one?
confirmed for his position.
it's now 8:00. Chris, what's his name says, oh yeah, Joe Carey, plane crash in Philadelphia. Yeah.
Okay, in Joe's defense, Joe may have just signed
I know.
in, joined the crowd,
I like this.
is adding, or because we can't read, it's
I
in
know.
all capital letters, like shocking. What does it mean?
Look
There's,
at this.
there's more of a thought.
And
there.
Joe says 2 people crashed in Philadelphia. 2 people crashed. I don't think news writing is your fort.
But I'm going to, again,
I'm just saying.
be devil's advocate. This is shocking for people. We're kind of like in this 24 hours a day. I'll say 20 hours. We do sleep about 4 hours a night,
Mhm.
maybe if we're lucky. We're in a constant Yumi deluge of press releases and people sending
Oh.
things, and a lot of people aren't. So these things are shocking. We just had the DC crash, and we got this crash. It puts people on edge. What's the next crash?
A great show on TV, which you were watching, which
Which
is
one?
great, is that Diddy, Defining Diddy, or
The
Diddy.
Fall of Diddy.
The Fall of Diddy. Wow. Wow.
Well, I have to continue. It's people have to understand it's not just about Diddy.
Mhm.
I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of that, because being a New Yorker for decades, there has been talk on the street, so to speak,
Mhm.
about Diddy. And you don't cross Diddy. You don't fight Diddy. You disappear. You shut your mouth. You don't, or else.
Mhm.
That means a lot of people were complicit with that, helping him. He didn't do this on his own. So I keep asking, especially unless the feds have her and she's turning on him, this Christina Coram, his right-hand woman, who was right there. Remember, there's always a woman involved. Remember Ghislaine? Always a woman with these guys, you know. Where is she now? Why aren't we hearing from her? And I'm still asking, which nobody answers, what about this Jennifer Lopez? Please, we never heard from her. We don't know about her. I don't know. The last picture I saw, she's shopping.
What about Ashton Kutcher?
Well, they're being very quiet, but we'll just leave that for now, kind of thing. We're going to leave that one for now. His ex-wife, Demi, however she's saying her name these days, is Oscar nominated. Not that that matters anymore, everybody. And frankly, in my opinion, you can buy Oscars, but that's another story.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. In fact, what's his name? Even Ricky Gervais would joke about that.
So it doesn't hold, you know, that magic is gone. Like, I love that when I was a kid, you know, watching the Oscars as a teenager, watching that.
Remember what Bob Hope was that
50th, he did that was Johnny Carson. I remember he did the 50th anniversary Oscars. He was the host. They had been after him for years and he finally gave in for the 50th. But I don't even know what Oscars this is. That could have been 45 years ago. I don't remember.
Sasheen Littlefeather?
Yeah, but I don't
was
care
Mexican.
I don't care. It was only announced after her death, but I don't care. I used to love the award shows. Didn't everybody love them? And look at the dresses and just, it seemed, you know, Hollywood. And then we grew up and got involved in the business of show, and our bubble was burst, honey.
You were looking at something the other day.
What was that?
Something fashion oriented or?
Oh no, I said on Instagram to you. I don't know why. Maybe because I looked at one or two things and with the algorithms. I'm getting all these feeds now of like fashion shows,
Yes.
the actual video, like fashion shows from the 1950s, the 1960s. Actually, the clothes still hold up. Just so nice and elegant and just nice. That's all I was saying to you. I'm enjoying looking at this. It's a nice respite for a few minutes in between everything else going on.
What was opening up again? Was it the Frick is opening up or something recently? I was reading their back or something. Was it the Frick?
I don't know. The Frick I thought was reopening in April.
Or maybe that's
the Frick Museum is reopening in April. It's been under extensive renovation. That's a museum on Fifth Avenue, everybody. You know, these museums, for instance, the Frick up by the Metropolitan Museum, those were private homes.
Oh,
can you imagine during that Gilded Age? And actually,
the Ukrainian embassy.
I was just going to say to you, on 79th and 5th, Ukrainian embassy. I just said to you the other day, that was a private home. I say it every time we pass it. But can you imagine that? And these beautiful, but I'm glad because a lot of them actually got knocked down when they started building these apartment buildings. And that was like in the late 50s and early 60s. So at least we still have some. The Jewish Museum on 92nd and 5th, that was a private home. So we still do have, and I just love looking when I pass them at the architecture. And I also always love, where do I tell you? Because I have a certain route I walk to
Jones House.
I'm going to admit it, everybody. On my route from west to east side, walk a certain way, Central Park South, over to 5th. I walk on 62nd off of 5th because 1 East 62 is where Joan Rivers lived in the most beautiful kind of a apartment house, but small townhouse. There were other tenants and she had a couple of floors. And I walk on the other side so I can look over because I believe it's empty. And they leave lights on so I can just see the walls and the massive ceilings. And I'll say to you, I'm walking past Jones for inspiration. Not that I'm a comedian or anything.
What about Epstein's
But there's
home?
something
Is it still there? Anybody own that one?
Okay, you know, that place was a school years ago.
And Bill Cosby lived across the street, right?
Yes.
And they were foreclosing on that, right? I think.
The Cosby one.
Cosby, yeah.
Yes, which is so kind of shocking, isn't it? I guess they're just letting it go or something. But as far as the Epstein one, largest private residence in New York, that was a school at one time. And that was bought at a very reduced price. I'll have to see, I don't like to even go there anymore because we never really got the answers there. I'll just leave that one, or had closure or had anything or accountability or responsibility. And that's the other thing. I don't care about these lists being released. I don't think that proves anything. Plenty of people have jumped in a picture with you. I don't know who they are.
It's the video.
It's the video
videos.
evidence.
Yes.
So that's why there's a push right now for President Trump to release the Diddy list. And I was like, that doesn't prove anything. Plenty of people want to be in a picture with a celebrity, an influencer,
But he
a
also
star.
had many people who went there, women, families, people, not just, he was, for whatever reason, he was inviting these folks.
Are you talking about Epstein?
Mhm.
As you know, we had people like Jane Pauley, Katie Couric.
I think Stephanopoulos and others.
Because it was kind of a thing to do.
Yeah.
He threw dinner parties.
And he was also, he would go to Harvard, and he was a benefactor, and it wasn't what.
Again, they want to rub shoulders with, they think, the wealthy, right?
You know who did that? Werner Erhard. Remember Est?
Oh, yeah. Whatever happened. Does that still go on?
I don't think so. But
was
Est, the owner or the developer or the head of it, would invite like Stephen Hawking and Lenny Susskind.
Okay, but here's the difference I want to say. So we did not know Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
No. Saw him a couple of times, but.
Okay, we saw him around town a few times, but there was always whispers because we heard it. People told us, him and girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any proof. I didn't witness it myself. So that being said, if we heard that, I heard that, wouldn't that make you a little extra cautious as somebody of note?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Katie Couric. I'll just throw her out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And I'm not, I'm not going to go near anything like that kind of thing.
How many?
And they still went. So that's a little different.
We heard about Charlie Rose, and we didn't even work there. Matt Lauer, we knew about that.
But because I didn't work there or have proof, I couldn't. But yes, good sources told me. So again, it goes into this decades of abuse, exploitation.
Right.
The Epstein thing, though.
Chris says we've known the names since 2018. The names of what?
Diddy, Epstein. I don't know.
I don't know. Hang on a minute.
There's so many these days coming out.
Can Pritzker ban J6ers from state jobs?
Oh, yes. I wanted to ask you that. Good, Laurie.
From his, in Illinois?
Yes. He's the governor. I guess he can, right?
I mean, he can do it unless he's stopped by, if it's subject to his discretion, he could. Teresa Skinner, by the way, says, watching DT dance, acting silly helps calm me during these atrocities. At the inauguration, the airport cake cutting with a sword, they told Trump not to cut through the plane, but to cut the runway. I had a knee-jerk reaction, but no facts. Interesting. Boy, that's a good one.
I'm thinking. See,
that's that is a good, you know what? Not that that means anything, but that's interesting. Of all the things, leave it to Therese John Skinner, by the way. Is that interesting? Skinner, I'm saying. Isn't that something? Isn't that
Teresa
something?
Teresa Skinner.
I know, Teresa Skinner. I'm getting my.
Wow.
This blows me away. I'm really going to think about that one. Because do you believe in coincidences? Do you believe there are things called a coincidence? I don't know. I think there are some things that are kind of these Jungian serendipitous synchronicity moments, but I don't know if there's a real coincidence.
I disagree, but okay.
Well, what does that mean?
I know, just as I've gotten older, I think a lot of things happen for a reason.
So you don't believe in coincidence? You believe there's a reason for that?
I'm a little bit of a mixed mind.
Yeah.
But lately, as I've gotten older, some very weird things happen.
Yes.
And I'll just leave it at that. Like, I had the weirdest thing happen. Should I tell you?
I don't know.
But it's not that interesting, but do you want me to tell you?
Sure. How can I not?
Because
somebody say, no,
weird.
Don't tell me.
It's weird, and only because it's Ventilation Friday.
Do you want to hear this or not? Don't look at me.
So, I woke up the other day, my usual time, around 4 a.m., and the first thing I do is go and make the coffee, right? That's what I do, right? Sit at the computer. I walk to the coffee pot, and all of a sudden in my head was that song, Old Susanna. I did not hear it. I don't sing it. Maybe when I was a kid in school.
Oh, Susanna.
Oh, Susanna.
Right, okay.
Old Susanna.
Right.
Oh, Susanna.
Right, okay.
But
or Old Susanna might be a different version.
By now, it's Old Susanna.
Okay.
But it's Oh, Susanna.
Right.
And I had every word going through my head.
Mhm.
You know, don't you cry for me. We don't talk about
I'm
that
from
song.
Alabama with a banjo on my knee.
Oh,
Susanna, don't you cry for me.
Okay,
Hey!
now, and it wouldn't leave my head.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready?
So I like to binge everybody when I go to bed late at night on a complete series of something.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I've been binging on 7 years of Designing Women. Okay.
I heard this.
And I did not hear this in my sleep the night before. I did not have anything to do with, oh, Susanna, nothing. And I'll usually watch, before I fall asleep, 3 or 4 episodes before I fall asleep. And one, it wasn't the first episode that came on. I think it was the second or third. They were using that song.
Mm.
And it's not like it was left over from the night before. I
Right.
think these were brand new episodes. Do you not think that's weird? And I'm having things like that happen to me. I'll think about somebody. I'm going to text them right now. I pick up my phone
Yeah.
and they text me first.
I think the chances
And
of that,
you're telling me that's just coincidence?
that the
Oh,
randomness
Susanna,
of that,
that's a weird
I
one.
think that defies randomness. Lori Cuck says, "Remember Trump's first sword dance?" I must have missed the sword dances. I'm sorry, but I'm going to check out the cutting the plane and that's just very interesting. Very, very interesting. Look at this. I'm binge watching Sharp's Rifles. I don't know what that means.
I don't know that show. Is that a show? Is that?
I have
what is
no
that?
idea.
But anyway, I binge these things, everybody, because it's kind of mindless after the work I do.
But it's not
But
really.
also,
It's
I like.
great. It's a great.
Well, that's
show.
what I wanted to say because you're all right.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying to find my.
Sorry, I'm smacking into you there. But I also like to go back and review the writing, the
Mhm.
character development, because I like all of that type of thing and working on some projects. And so I like to look at that writing, and it's really good. I did the Desperate Housewives, so I
Mhm.
did that was 7 years as well. This is 7 years. I'm in season 4 of what was the other one I just did? What's the one I finished? I forgot.
Oh,
Hmm.
no, you would.
No, I did. I've done a few.
No, Designing Women. No, I mean
No.
the Housewives.
No, I said that. We're losing our minds.
By the way,
There was
Brad
another one I
Rung says, "Did you hear about the Philly plane
Brad.
crash?" Love you. Yes.
No,
I did.
Brad's doing that on
Brad's doing
purpose.
it on purpose. Yes.
Brad's making it funny, everybody. Even there's nothing funny about this.
And what
story. I'm
about
not
the
laughing.
Trump sword dance? I know nothing about this. I missed the sword. Did I miss the sword dance? I'm gonna go look for the sword dance. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, I saw it, but I didn't focus on anything. I didn't.
Jem says, "Why are you talking about this?" I love that. Thank you so much. Great. Thank you so much. Jem,
You know
by
what,
the way, Jem knows how to just.
Jem, this is a Ventilation Friday.
Jem
so
knows
we
how
are
to.
going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, as all of you can talk about anything you want to talk about. That's called Ventilation
Jem
Friday.
knows how to get. So what are we talking about?
Jem.
I like somebody who said before. He said,
Jem.
"Don't you understand that Candace Owens said, this is great journalism. If you think so, go ahead." I don't care about his wife and the whole bit. It's mean. Candace Owens is mean. She's this mean. She's mean about, she does these things and she can't say straight. She goes straight, street. Okay, that's fine. But she's mean. And I know you like her. She's very popular and terrific. But she was, put it this way.
You know what I don't like?
Wait. She actually made me for 1 minute almost feel sorry for Kamala. Almost. And her wife.
I wouldn't go that far.
But
I
she's
wouldn't go
not
that-
white. She said she was white, but she wasn't really white. And her grandfather, and we talked to her, and it's like, wait a minute.
I wouldn't go that far.
Wait a
I
minute.
just don't
But
like.
there's an anger part of it.
Okay.
She was talking about her who was white and who was okay, fine. But this, if you listen, I've been around. See, if you can't tell when somebody's got something a little bit like there's an axe to grind, there's something mean. I can't help you with that one. Go ahead.
Here's what I don't like about Candace. She's intelligent.
Very much.
She
so.
has a platform. She has
Yeah.
a following. Imagine if she could use that to promote what we talk about, empowering girls and young women, taking care of, homeless women.
Mhm.
Maybe put all that into vets,
Mhm.
like use your platform really for good. I can't keep hearing about her with Macron, the wife, the this, the that. She's wasting because she is smart. She has such an opportunity to educate, and she's just stuck on the same old.
And she made her, this is okay, this is her right, but she made her bed with Israel. That's it.
You said it, not me.
That's it. So you know what? I'm just telling you, you're a brave person, I guess. But Trump and those folks were saying, nope, nope, nope. Carla, by the way, Carla, the cooking CEO, says, "Have you binge watched The Outlander, Mrs. L?"
No,
I love those loose historical storylines.
It's on my list, but it takes me a while to get through. It seems like everything is 7 years I'm watching, and at the rate of like 3 to 4 episodes a night, I'm getting there.
Right.
Carla, it's on my list. I'm going to get there, and I'll swing back around, as they say, to discuss it.
Matt X says, "Did FDR die or was he killed?" I believe. Oh, well, I think there is something to be said over the fact that he was poisoned.
Yes,
poisoned by the woman who was painting, and Gromyko was actually sent by Stalin because Gromyko was apparently a poison expert, and years later, Elliot, but what's her name? Eleanor said, "No, don't do this." Said no. And then years later, Elliot Roosevelt said, "Yeah," because he interviewed Stalin. And he said, "Yeah, I told you. I sent Gromyko because at the time they were doing this, he was like only 63.
People just looked older in those days.
Yeah, but he was really sick. But his high blood pressure,
he was sick.
They could have. With today's medication, they could have. There's no reason for him to stroke out. But when he was doing this around Warm Springs, they were doing that final portrait. When they have those paints like this and they're drinking tea and they had arsenic in paints, you can pour, you can look the other way. And I mean, you could do a lot of things. So many people have thought for sure that he was years ago. Anyway. All right, my friends. What a night it's been.
Wait a minute. Hazel.
Huh?
There was a Hazel comment. So I'm looking at that Hazel comment. Oh, you have to scroll down a little bit. On Hazel with Shirley Booth was Mr. B.
Right, Don DeFore.
You scroll down. I have to see the rest of the comment.
Well, is it Hazel we're looking for? What's the name of the person?
Can you just scroll up very easily?
Hang on. What's the name of the person? Oh, on Hazel, it's Mantony. I'm looking for somebody named Hazel.
I'm talking about Shirley Booth.
On Hazel was Shirley Booth. Was Mr. B actually a licensed attorney? No. Don DeFore, I do not believe. Remember Bobby Buntrock?
Well, he played an attorney in the show.
Yeah, I don't
think he was in real life. If that's the
Teresa
question.
Skinner says yes.
Comment.
Sword dance, cake cutting at the inauguration ball before the plane crash. Yes,
I think it's a coincidence.
But you know what?
Or somebody.
I'm going to go with this.
I got to research this a little bit.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Anyway, what a night. An hour and 22 minutes.
Oh my goodness, time flies with your crew here.
It's our crew. Well, Therese Skinner, thank you. Mattless X, Carla, thank you. Brad Rung, Lori Cuck, happy birthday. Lori's 51
Happy
tonight.
Birthday, Lori. We love you.
Therese, you were so kind. Thank you. Chris Cox, everybody. Let me see. Cut Up Chatter, thank you. Nelson, Gretzky.
Like Wayne Gretzky.
Well, I'm adding a vowel to it. Let me see. Kelly McKinnon, thank you. Suze 007, thank you. Sabertron Toys, I love Ventilation Fridays, thank you. And Cut Up Chatter says, I'm curious about, thank you for the table crochets.
Oh, yes.
She has 15 more and sending them. I care about every hurting heart. Can't hug everyone.
We give those to the survivors. Thank you for doing that. It means so much.
Absolutely. All right, dear friends. Have a great and a glorious night. At midnight, we're going to get up and we're going to toast Lori because it's her birthday. It's her birthday. Thank you so much, my friends. Have a great and a glorious night. See you tomorrow. And until then, my friends, let me see.
Give me a kiss, you.
And until then, my friends, as we always say, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dead.